Hey, welcome back to the channel. Today we've got a Sudoku called Knightlites. It's by Bearded Fool. As you can see, there are some interesting symbols that we have here that I have not seen before, so I thought it'd be a good puzzle to try to solve. So I always like to see new or twists, at least, on established rule sets. So this one, let's get into the rules and we'll figure out what these things are. So we've got normal Sudoku rules apply. So every row, every column, and every 3x3 box must contain the digits 1 through 9 once each. Now we've got to our Knightlites, spelled KN, obviously like chess knight. A cell with a yellow circle contains a digit indicating exactly how many times that same digit appears a chess knight's move away from that cell. Not all Knightlites are necessarily given. Okay, so what does that mean? Well, when we look at a chess knight move set, that's probably the best way to describe what they are. So in chess, a knight can move to any of these positions from this one position. Those are just the rules of chess. So normally in a knight's move Sudoku, we'd be talking about a negative constraint here where none of these could be that same digit. But here we're twisting that on its head and saying, no, we actually have values and we're giving you how many they are. So whatever this digit happens to be, that will determine how many of these cells are the same as that digit, which is interesting. And then from there, let's go into the rest of these rules. We've got black dots separate cells. They're a 2 to 1 ratio. So this is Kropki dots. So these black dots, whatever this digit is, this one has to be in a 2 to 1 ratio to it, i.e. whatever this digit is, this one has to be half or double that digit. Then we've got white dots separate cells that are consecutive. So here we've got given 4. So these two digits have to be either 3 or 5 because they are consecutive with 4. And then we have one other little rule in here, which is an inequality sign between cells points to the smaller digit. So this inequality sign, don't confuse it with a V for like a 5 type of clue. This is an inequality. This one means that whatever this digit is, it has to be larger than this digit. And those are the rules. So that being said, let's jump into Knightlites by Bearded Fool and try to solve it. It looks interesting. So where would be the best place to start? Now, the Kropki dots don't seem to be doing a whole lot right off the bat because there's tons of options that you can do for those. So we're probably going to have to go with our main event, which are the Knightlites. Now, I think this digit is going to be the least helpful at the moment because it has a ton of options. Now, we could limit this one, and I guess I will since I've already highlighted it. But how many, so this digit has to be a digit, and it has to tell you how many times that exact same digit appears in all of these cells. So what is the limitation on this digit? Well, it can't be a 9, because you can't put 9 digits of the same value in all these. So what could it be? Well, you could get 1 here, 1 here, 1 here, and 1 here. That would be 4. And just to make sure it's not counting itself, no, it does not appear to be. So the max that this digit could be would be 4. So we could put that one in just to put it in. Like I said, I know it's not very helpful at the moment, but it's something. What's one that would be more reserved? Let's look at this one. So on this one, a knight's move would place it in these locations. Well, these two digits clearly can't be the same as this. And we know what these two digits are generally anyway, but we'll get back to that in a second. So these two are out. So this one now it could be either of these, and or either of these. So this can only be up to a 3. So that is a 1, 2, or a 3. Now, looking at what we just said with the white Kropki dots, and this is the only digit we're actually given so far, we know these two digits have to be consecutive with 4, so they have to be 3 and 5. So that rules out a 3 here. Now, 1 and 2 being left over isn't all that helpful just yet. It doesn't appear because you could have either one in any configuration pretty much, it looks like. So what would be even more constricting? These two are probably the exact same style as this one, and this one looks like it would have options as well. Although it probably would end up being similar to these because it's going to C2 in its own box. But let's go to these two. They seem to be the most constrained because essentially what we're doing is we're cutting this knight's move in half. We can't go off the board. So the only place that this dot could see, we'll start with this one, is this. The other one would be over here. This, and this. Well, clearly we know that those can't be because they're in the same region. And looking at this now, we know, well, these both can't be the same digit. So therefore, this has to actually just be a 1. And then one of these is a 1. Well, actually, no, I just looked at it. The inequality sign says that this can't be a 1 because it can't be a 0 in a normal Sudoku. So that's out. So this is a 1, which is actually going to give us our 2 over here, which is nice. This 1 here is going to get rid of our 1 here. And we should be able to do the exact same logic over here, it seems. We could do this, and this. These can't be in. Only one of these could be a 1. So therefore, or whatever the digit is, only one of those could be. So this has to be a 1. Now that we know a couple of 1s we've got on the board, well, 3 of them, does that do much for us? Well, it tells us none of those can be 1s, so one of these would have to be a 1. Is there something else we can look at? Now, is it possible for this one to see this one? That would be that one. Yeah, that would make sense. Because this one has to be one of these two. It could overlap with this one that we've just determined by Sudoku. Maybe we should color that just to have something visually there. I don't know that that does much. We know that these two are taken care of. Maybe I should continue coloring just to get that visual representation. What about this guy? Now, it sees some digits. So what does this one, what can this see? Well, it can see these two. Obviously, it can't be those because it's in its own region. And it can see these, and these. So that gives us a maximum of 3. But we know that it can't be 1 or 2. So this does have to be 3, which means there's a 3 in all of those situations. One of these is a 3, one of these is a 3, one of these is a 3. Okay. I can't do the same thing over here yet. Although I can tell you that it's the same general concept that these, clearly that can't be in because it's in the same region, but this could be 1, 2, or 3. It can't be 2, so this one goes down to a 1 or a 3. We know that none of these could be 3s just by X-wing logic, but that doesn't do much for us, and I don't really think that's going to help us if I mark it. This guy right here, I don't see how I could determine which one of these is a 1 just yet. Now I know none of those are a 1, so one of these has to be a 1. We'll put that in for now. Can this ever be a 1? Well, the answer to that's no, actually, which is interesting. I don't know if it's really going to do much good for me, but it can't be a 1. If this is a 1, that forces this to be a 2. Now, that then forces this to be consecutive with a 2, so it either has to be 1 or 3. Well, we've got a 1 and a 3 sitting here looking at it, so this can never be a 1. So our 1 is up here somewhere. Can we do anything similar over on this side? Well, we know that can't be a 1 because it forced both of these to be a 2. But that's not enough. We know those aren't 1 because of this one, but that doesn't give us enough here to really work with. So I don't think the 1s are the answer at this moment. We still have this one open. We can probably look at it. Let's look at this 2 real quick for a second. So we know there's a there's two twos in these three possible groups. Does that in any way help? Or is there any one of these positions where a 2 could not exist? And I don't think so, looking at it. Now, is it well, I see something right now. This can't be a 3, but that's not, once again, I don't think it's going to do much. Could this be a 2? If it was, it would take those out. And it would force the 2 to be there. That's assuming this is that's saying if this was a 2. But that doesn't look like it does anything for me either. Okay, maybe we look at this one, see what our possibilities are. So these, and these. Now, clearly that can't be, let me highlight that, can't be in here because that's in the same region. So we get the same kind of thing we had with these guys. This is either 1, 2, or 3. We know it's not a 3, so it's either 1 or 2. Let's get rid of our 3 here. Okay, so this is 1 or 2. Where would the 1 go? Once again, I'm just marking everything up. Okay. So assuming this is a 1, these can't be 1 because the 1 is up here. These can't be a 1 because this is in the cell. This can't be a 1 and this can't be a 1. So one of these two would have to be a 1. That's just assuming this is a 1. Maybe it makes more sense to look at this as a 2. If this was a 2, it would force 2s into these situations. Clearly that couldn't be a 2 and that couldn't be a 2. So that would force these to be 2s. And we'd know exactly where they are. They would be those 2. So that would put a 2 up here and a 2 down here. And I don't see how that's a bad thing. Can we look at this? Oop, misclick there. Can this be a 4? I don't necessarily see why it couldn't, because you could easily have a 4 in all of those positions. They don't see each other in any given way. Could we rule out a 4 in one of these? No, because it could just be 4, 5, 6. We have a 3 up here, so we know it can't go down to 4, 3, and then it wouldn't continue to a 2 anyway. But this could be 4, 5, 6. And that might actually end up being what kind of differentiates some of this stuff later. This one would be the same thing. It can't go from 4 to 3 because you've got an X-wing on 3s here. So this would be 4, 5, and then 6 if one of these was a 4. But I don't know that one of those is a 4. It could easily just be these two that are the 4s, which would force these two to be the 4s. And all that said, that seems completely possible and fairly likely. Okay, was there something more we could do with the 1s then? Because I'm running out of ideas here fairly quickly. We know that none of these can be 1s. So let's just show them visually. We know this can't be a 1. We know this can't be a 1. We know this can't be a 1. The reason why this was a 1, one of these would have to be a 2, and that doesn't work. This one, the same thing. This one, if this was a 1, it would force this to be a 2, which would have nothing left here. These can't be 1s. Yeah, that's not really doing a whole lot either. None of those. That's not super useful. Okay. Maybe we've got to look at this 3 again. Just give it a look-see. If this was a 3, it would have to be, okay, that's it. It can't be. This can't be a 3 anymore because we determined there's a 3 up here, so these can't be 3. So now if this was a 3, we'd only have 2 possibilities because this also can't be 3. So this is 1, which is going to give us a 1 over here. Okay. Probably could have seen that earlier, but I was looking at a bunch of other stuff, so I did not. Now that we know that this is a 1, there either is a 1 in one of those two, and it can't be either of those. So let's color this bad boy. We'll call him blue. So we know one of these is a 1. We know it couldn't be either one of these because we've already got 1s in those boxes. Okay, this one sees this one, so this is a 1 up here. So the 1s might be doing a little bit more than I thought they were going to do. So one of these is a 1. If this was a 1, this could be a 2. That seems like it would still work. This one has little impact other than it would tell us what this is, which would then open this up. So that could be actually a very interesting item. Is there any way I can rule this out as being a 1? I really would like there to be. We know that none of these can be 1. One of these two has to be. There's got to be something here with this 1. So I'm going to look at it a little closer and do my little pattern that I like to do. Just so I can visualize it. None of these are 1s. So one of these is. One of those is. None of these are. Now I can't. It doesn't look like I can see. I'm going to write these in. These are the possibilities. Okay, that does actually give me something. So these are the possibilities. Well, why did I rule that out? I made an error, didn't I? Let's look at that again. In this row, we've got a 1. Oh, it can't be there because of that. I'm being stupid. This can't be a 1, clearly. So we know this is a 1. Now, what did that do? It meant none of these are 1, so one of these is a 1. So we've now got our 1s pretty well handled. We've got an X-wing of 1s, but it didn't tell us what we wanted to know, or did it? Let me look at this one real quick. I think it does. If this was a 1, it would have to be one of those, one of those, one of those, or one of those. Well, it can't be those because there's 1 here. It can't be those because there's 1 here. This is already a 1, so it can't be those ones. We know there's a 1 up here, so it can't be those. So this is 2, which means this is 1. This is 1. Okay, so our 1s are done. That 2 now gives me a 4, which means we're going to have our situation, like I said earlier, where all of these have to have a 4 in them somewhere. So there's no 4s in any of these spaces, none here, none in here. I don't know if this is going to do me much good, but I'm going to look at it because sometimes just being visual and putting these in can really help to see something that you wouldn't normally see. So these are all the possible locations of a 4, which I don't really like because it doesn't do much. And I've got a lot of random ticks now that are going to give me a little bit of stuff to look at that might be a little messy. Maybe a little coffee will give me something to work with. Now, what were some of the things we were talking about with this 4? We couldn't rule out any of the necessarily these 2 because they would just be 4, 5, 6s. 4, 5, 6. But we couldn't say that one of these necessarily had to be a 4. This one we've done with. This one we're done with. This one we're done with. This 2. Let's look at these 2s, because I think they're going to give us maybe something. So we know it can't be a 2 in here, obviously. So one of... I'm just going to draw them in. So those are our possibilities of 2s. Clearly it can't be there. Yeah, this is going to give us our next step. So now we have to put a 2 in both of these. This one can't be a 2 because it sees that 2, and so is that one. So these are both now 2, which is going to give us a 3, which is going to give us a 3 and a 3. So our 3's got put in pretty quickly there. Now we've got a bunch of 2s, and we've got this 3 looking here. We're going to put this 5 and 3 in, and we got this 3 on here, so that's got to be a 6. Okay, we're getting somewhere now. I said our 1s are done. Our 2s... Now, one of these is a 2. Let's color these just so I'm not missing a clue somewhere later on. We'll call you red for now. So there had to be a 2 up here. There has to be a 2 down here. Well, this 1 shows us where a 2 is, which is good. Does that give us more for our 2s? Well, one of these has to be a 2. We know one of those has to be a 2. Any of those could be. And clearly, well, that's not clear at all. This can't be a 2 because it forces a 1 and a 3. 2, 3, 4 works, so I can't rule out 2 on either of these. So I don't know that that 2 is going to do much more. Do we have anything going on our 3s? Well, we've got a few 3s, so there has to be a 3 in one of those. Yeah. This could still be a 3, 6. Nothing's ruling that out. There has to be a 3 in one of these. Nothing's ruling that out. Okay, I don't think the 3s are doing. So let me color my 3. So once again, as we were talking about, I'm not missing a clue. This 2 clue, that's probably what I needed to... No, these 2 share, don't they? Because this already sees these 2, and this sees these 2. So these 2s are actually sharing the same 2. Does that help us in any way? I don't think it does, because it just means that this can't see another 2, but there's nowhere it could anyway. This 4 is the only thing left now, but we know where they are. We just haven't determined the specific slot of them. Okay. How about this black Kropki dot, and maybe this one up here as well. Now, we can't be 1, 2, or 3 on here. So this has to be a 4, 8 pair. Yes, this gives me my 4 and my 8, and it's going to get rid of my 4 here. It's going to give me my 4 here. Let's keep rolling with these. Now, what other Kropki dots do we have? What about this one? This can't be 1, 3, 4, or 6, so it can only be 2 or 8. This one can't be 1, 2, or 3, and it can't be 6, so it's either 4 or 8. But this could never be an 8, so it has to be a 4. So let's get rid of that. Now, there has to be a 4 in one of these. So we've got our X-wing of 4s down here, but we already kind of knew that, so okay. We're getting something. We're moving along. What other clues do we have that haven't been used? What about this digit? It can't be 1, 2, 3, or 4. So it's either 6 or 8, which means this is either 3 or 4. And we can't determine which one that is, because it could be either. Now, this can't be 1, 2. It could be 3, 6, and it could be 4, 8. And again, we cannot determine that. So maybe these are not the right clues that we need to be looking at. What are these? Maybe we're going to start here. We've got everything up to 5, so this has to be from 6, 7, 8, 9. This can't be 9 because we forced this to be 8. We've got an 8. This could very well be 9 because it could go 8 here. So maybe this isn't doing me a whole lot either. I must be missing something. Did I finish my 2s? Or going through them to see what could be and what couldn't be? Don't know that I did. But I don't think I had any further places I could look. I mean, I know one of these has to be a 2, but that's slim pickings. Okay, what's the next place? Maybe this row? Because we end up being, we have to have a 5, 6, 7, and 9. Now, this can't be 5. This can't be 9 because you couldn't put an 8 here. We don't have any of these other larger digits, so putting in large digits isn't great. This can't be 9. Could this be, yeah, this. So 9 goes in one of these two. I'm not sure which one just yet. Okay, I don't like getting all this stuff. This can never, well, this could be a 4, couldn't it? Because this could be 6, 5, 4. What clue haven't I used that would make any kind of sense? What is this? This cannot be 1, 2, or 3. So the bare minimum it could be is 4. But it can't be 4 because we just said there has to be a 4 down here. So the bare minimum of this one is a 5. Yeah, once again, we know this is a large digit, so it's not doing us any good until we can figure out more down here. Now, I mean, I just don't see much with these big digits. Let's go back to our 4s, maybe, and I might have missed something. No, I don't think I did. What other clues do we have? It seems like I've used them all. I think I can get rid of my coloring because it might be messing with my head a little bit. Get rid of the coloring. Sometimes it just does. Sometimes when there's too much on the screen, it's harder to focus on what I need to focus on. I don't know that that's necessarily the case here, but we're going to take a stab at it. Well, this 6 means this can't be a 6. That's a minor little thing. Come on, where you at? No, it's got to be around here somewhere. I feel like I've just used all the clues that I can use so far. We said the 1's already done. The 2's we've looked at multiple times, and they're not giving us anything we want at the moment. About 3. Not really. Well, I mean, none of these are 3. This can't be 3 because it either has to be 3, 2, 1 or 3, 4, 5. So we know one of these is a 3. That's, oh, wait, we've got a 3 here. Okay. This could be something. Let's put that 3 in. We know one of these is a 3. We just said that one of these is a 3. Now, none of these are a 3, but that just leaves a 3 in any, well, this can't be a 4. Just saw that because of that, but this is just piddling stuff again. There's no negative constraints that I can see because the 1's already taken care of. The 3's are already taken care of, and it doesn't see anything else. The 4 isn't fully taken care of, but we know what's what. So I think our Knightlites are done for. If you know, oh, here we go. That 3 sees this. Okay, here we go. That's got to be 4 and 8. We can go ahead and get rid of that. That puts our 4 here. We can get rid of that. So we're down to our X-wing of 4s here that we haven't gotten to yet. This 4 is almost worthless because we already knew this had to be a 5 or higher. We can get rid of this as an 8. Said the 4s didn't do much. The 8s, well, we do have an 8, so we can put that in. This has to be 8, which is going to get rid of these as 8, which is going to force this to be an 8. Now this has to be 7. So none of these are 7. That makes this either, no, this just has to be a 6. There's no other recourse there. So these are a 5-9 pair. This would have to be a 5-9 because it's the only thing left in this box. These two have to be from 6 and 9. This 5-9 gets rid of that 9. This has to be either 6 or 7, but it cannot be 6, so this is 7, 6. This is not 6, so we've got a 7-9 pair up there. Looking real quick to make sure I didn't miss anything that could differentiate those two. No, this has to be 3 and 9. No. What did I? 3 and 5. Thank you very much. Let's get rid of that. Too many things to look at. Where? Okay, we were moving, and I just slowed down here again for a second. We started going down in here. We can't do anything with our 4s yet, because we still got these guys sitting here doing their thing. This could still be 7, 6, 5. Well, this can't be a 4 anymore, so let's get rid of that 4. That does finish up our 4s. Now this has to be 8. Get rid of that. This 4, the 4s are done. How about the 8s? One of these has to be an 8. This can't be a 9 anymore because I've forced that to be an 8, so we've got 7 and 9. Okay, we're getting somewhere. The 7s. One of these two, well, no, it's not true because this could still be a 7. It could go 7, 6, 7. Maybe we need to look at that. This has to be either 6 or 8, and it can't be 8, so this is 6. Now this has to be either 5 or 7. Now that is not determined yet. But what about our 6s? Did we get anything out of it? We know one of these has to be a 6, which forces this to be a 6, which does what? Forces one of these to be a 6. Now we've got an X-wing on 6s. This is not a 6. None of these are 6s. That's not a 6. So we have a 6 on this line, which means this can never be a 3. There we go. 3, 8. Can we finish with our 8s? Yes, we can. This has to be 8 and 2. This is a 7. Are we done with our 8s? Almost. This one, and that should do the 8s. 2s should be pretty much done now, right? Yes, because there can't be a 2 on here anymore because we've got a 6 on it. So this becomes a 2. This becomes a 2. Get rid of the 2 here. Did I finish my 2s? No 2s. No 2s. This is 2. This is 6. This is 6. Go away. These have to be 5 and 7. There's a 7 here, so this is 5 and 7. This forces that to be a 9. That has to be a 9. This has to be a 7, and this has to be a 5. Now this has to be 9, and we are wrapping this one up. Good. This is 5 or 7. We've got a 9 over here, seeing this 5-9 pair, so that's 5-9. These 3, well, this 7, let's just do that first. 5. This is going to be 9. This is 5 and 6, and we've got a 5 there, so this is 6 and 5. That 6 gives me 9 and 6. This has to be 7. This has to be 3 because of that 5. These two are 3 and 9. We've got a 3 up here, so 9, 3. In here, we've got to put a 5. It's going to give us our 7 and our 5. And then we've got the final 7 and 9. And there we go. you solved the problem. Solution is correct. So that was a lot of fun. Once again, a new, at least that I've never seen, new take on the knight's move, which I thought was really interesting and really worked quite well. I hope you all enjoyed that as much as I did, and I will see you all in the next one. Thanks a lot.